Yeah, Coach. Just curious about Peyton and his, going into his senior year. Obviously, he's an accomplished guy, but his development. What are some things that kind of fine tuning points that maybe you work on during the spring and this camp that you want to see carry over to the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Peyton, he's had a great offseason. And the big thing was with COVID, and he had a couple little surgeries going into last year. He was never really able to get himself physically to the point that he wanted to be during the season. So he played about 240 last year. This year he's at 252, 253. Body fat percentage is down, running better. He's had a tremendous camp. So just watching him and his development. I mean, he's always been able to catch the football. He's always had good ball skills. But I think that what you'll see is one of the better blocking tight ends in the Big Ten, and that's just I think a byproduct of all the work he's put in the offseason. He's one of our strongest guys, just on the team in general. So good ball skills. He's stronger. He's more physical, and just he's played like a veteran throughout camp.
I guess just to keep going on, Dave, how held back was he? You mentioned COVID. I mean, what was sort of the difference, and what were some things that he couldn't do last year because of things that he was going through physically?
Well, he had foot surgery, and he had his shoulder just kind of cleaned up, and that was right before we went on pause in March. So he had to. By the time he was able to really rehab, it was with our guys. It was July. So we originally were hoping that we could get him back by mid-August, in a perfect world. So, I think you just look at, the fact he played at 10, 12 pounds less. So, you don't have the normal body strength that he probably had the year before. I think he just, he needed to change his composition just because you're not like a lot of our guys, you weren't able to have that continuous break or that continuous workout cycle from, January all the way on. So, and the other thing was not having the time to really throw with Mike, to just go out and work with your starting quarterback. I mean, it was, that's something that, I think people take for granted is the connection that, maybe he had with Peyton Ramsey the year before that, you're working on to get to with Mike. But, those guys have worked really hard all summer. Mike, Peyton, Fry, all those guys together as a unit. And so I think that's one reason that, he's way ahead of where he was this time last year.
All right. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm great.
I want to ask you about AJ Varner, a guy that was, in high school was more of a defensive player, played a little tight end.
Yep.
On the field, he looks great. He's huge, runs well. Just what have you seen from him, and how excited are you about his future?
I'm really excited about AJ. I think that the tight end position, we talked about this in our room today. I mean, the tight end position, is one that, you kind of develop into as you get older. And so a lot of times, that's not the position you necessarily play in high school. And, I think AJ, playing linebacker primarily, he was the defensive player of the year in his league, bringing that type of mentality, over to the offensive side of the ball, along with his, just his skill set physically, just being long, having good ball skills. All those things were, an advantage for AJ just to start with. It's, I think more than anything, he just had to learn from a schematic standpoint and from a technique standpoint, the blocking component, the route component. And so last year, we were fortunate. Peyton and Matt Bjornson both stayed healthy. So he played primarily on special teams, but he was always that guy. We had a couple games where we had packages, where we would get him in the game with Peyton, just because those two guys are, bring some things as a pair. So he's a guy that I think has he has a high ceiling, and I think you'll see him more on the field this year. Not just on special teams, but in different packages, and he's going to be a good football player, I think. And I've told the guys in our room, this is probably the first time in a long time, maybe ever, that you can look in the tight end room and say, hey, there's a couple potential NFL guys sitting in that room, But that's, I think that's the reality of it.
It's following up on AJ. You talked about it being Peyton's senior year, and probably down the road it's going to be AJ's position going forward. So talk about him kind of having some NFL potential. What do you want to see from him this year in his first kind of real year without these stop and starts from COVID, hopefully, and getting a real chance to actually see the field for the first time, on offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the great thing, and nobody's mentioned him yet, so I'm going to plug him, is we have Matt Bjornson, who's a fourth-year guy who has played in every single game since he walked on campus, and he's only started twice, but he's played in every single game. So, I think that really helps a guy like AJ to have both those two guys to draw from. And Matt has another year, so hopefully, we get Matt back as well. But, Matt's a very detailed guy, in everything he does, in regards to, blocking, route running, just life in general. And so to be able to pull from both Peyton and Matt, I think has been huge. And so he hasn't been in a situation where he's had to go in and be the guy. He's always been able to kind of slowly build him, to a point where, he's got confidence in what he's doing, and he can go out, if he needed to be the guy, he probably could be the guy. But I think that having that combination of those three guys is really helpful in AJ's development. And, even a guy like Aaron Steinfeld, a freshman from Bloomington North, has shown some real improvement the last week and a half. So, when you got guys like Peyton and Matt, guys who've been here, 4 years, who know how to work, know how to lead, that really helps with the development of your younger players.
With Peyton, I guess just kind of when you sit down and look at the film with him from last season, what are some of the kind of things that you look at that you kind of point out that he needs to improve and get better?
Yeah, I think that, and we just talked about this earlier today. Last year, we started off first game against Penn State, and I don't know that we were ready for their speed up front. I mean, the speed of the edge rusher, and the guys coming off coming from the outside. I don't know that I had prepared them well enough, quite honestly, or you could really even simulate. Both those two guys they had last year playing defensive, I think both were drafted. But just, to be able to play fast, to be able to be more confident in yourself, I think that, he is 100% bought into the fact that, hey, I want to be the best overall player at tight end I can be, not just a guy that goes out and catches football. So that's why I said just, the improvement in his ability to block people, whether it's in the zone scheme or, in gap schemes on the edge and the perimeter, blocking for bubble screens. I think those are all things, just being as detailed as I can be in the different facets. And, I think with Peyton as well, with his goals, the other thing is just, hey, I want to be a great special teams player. And you'll see him and Matt Bjornson, AJ, those three guys, it's kind of unheralded work, but those three guys are kind of core guys on our special teams as well. So, I think just being detailed in everything that he does, leading by example. He's one of the leaders on the football team, not just on the offense, but one of the leaders on the football team, and taking pride in that and understanding that, if you go out and play and work that hard, that you can have a major impact on the whole team, not just on, a few individuals.
All right, Kevin, that's nice one.
Yeah, Coach. We saw Cam Taylor in camp. He certainly stood out. He's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had some COVID issues last year, but you were missing him as kind of a goal line guy. Is that still the plan? And what did he do in camp as far as your concerned?
Yeah, I mean, he was banged up most of last year. Has been able to come back in and had a good camp. The thing Cam definitely brings some things to the table. We just got to get him healthy, and that's kind of been the thing that he's dealt with since he's been here is just, not being 100% healthy. But, he's a big body. He's played a lot of football. He started at South Alabama. So, he definitely can be a guy that comes in, when we go into 2 tight end sets or 3 tight end sets, short yardage goal line. And, he's got really good feet for a big guy. He knows how to use his hands as well. So, I think with Cam, it's just, hey, we got to get you healthy. And he has a good understanding, I think, of what we're trying to do at this point. So he definitely could contribute. I mean, there's a ton of guys, I think, that or not a ton of guys. There's probably 2 or 3 guys other than the guys we mentioned, have the potential to play on Saturday, with Cam being one, Aaron Steinfeld being one. James Bamba, who another Bloomington kid, is another one that potentially you could see at times. So we've got some big bodies who are athletic and have the potential to plug and play as we need, which it's a long season, so we're going to probably need them all at one point.